What if I told you that making no money for 3 years is not failure? It's the entry fee. Let that sink in. 3 years of grind, 3 years of doubt, 3 years of watching others win while you feel stuck in place and you think something's wrong with you. But what if that's exactly how mastery begins? Look, every trader dreams of freedom. No boss, no schedule, no ceiling. But here's the paradox nobody warned you about. The path to freedom looks identical to the path to failure for the first 3 years. Same stress, same loneliness, same empty results. You see charts, you study, you improve, and yet your P&L doesn't move. You think, maybe I'm not cut out for this, but you are. Because the data says that if you survive those first 3 years, your odds of long-term success explode. So the real question isn't, how fast can I make money? It's, can I endure long enough to deserve it? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the flatline, the stretch of zero progress, is the most critical stage of your trading evolution, and why the top 1% wear their unprofitable years like medals. Welcome to Disciplined Trades. Here, we rewire your brain to trade like the 1%, not by copying their entries, but by learning how they survive their winters. Because every trader goes through it. The winter phase, that long, quiet period where nothing seems to work, where every strategy feels broken, where you open your account and feel that cold mix of shame and disbelief. But here's what almost nobody tells you. That's not the signal to quit. It's the signal that you're actually beginning to learn. In this episode, I'll show you 5 psychological shifts that the top 1% of traders use to transform years of zero profit into the foundation of exponential growth. We'll talk about why your brain mistakes learning for losing, the science of delayed skill acquisition, how professional traders survive years of drought without breaking, and the one mental framework that turns stagnation into strategy. The last insight, number 5, is the one that flipped my entire career. It's the mindset that took me from blowing accounts to building a firm. So let's go deep. Tell me in the comments, how long have you been trading? And are you profitable yet? Don't be shy, because the truth is, most aren't. But the ones who admit it, they're already ahead. Chapter 1, the invisible progress curve. Here's what every beginner misunderstands. Progress in trading doesn't look like a line. It looks like a long, flat plateau, then a sudden vertical explosion. That's not motivational talk. That's neuroscience. Anders Ericsson, the psychologist behind the 10,000-hour rule, discovered something remarkable. In the first 3 years of skill development, measurable performance barely moves. Why? Because your brain is rewiring itself beneath the surface. Neural connections are being built, not yet expressed. Think of bamboo. For 4 years, nothing grows above ground. Then in 6 weeks, it shoots up 90 feet. Trading is bamboo. The first 1,000 trades are root building. You're not gaining money, you're gaining mental structure. Your edge is forming invisibly through repetition. Richard Dennis, the founder of the Turtle Traders, ran an experiment. He taught complete novices his system, entries, exits, risk. Same formula, but only a handful made it. When asked why, he said, the system wasn't the test. Patience was. They all learned the same mechanics. Only some survived long enough for their brain to synchronize with the markets. Here's what's happening biologically. Each decision you make builds a neural circuit. When that circuit repeats, win, lose, adapt, it gets insulated by myelin, the fatty sheath that turns thought into instinct. The first years are just insulation. You're literally wrapping your circuits in speed. The result? After enough repetition, execution feels effortless. What looked like talent was just accumulated myelin. But most people never reach that phase. They quit during the flat line. Be honest. How many times have you said, I've been doing this for years and I'm still not consistent? You're not stuck. You're still wiring. Chapter 2, the Dunning-Kruger collapse. This is where almost everyone fails. You start trading and you get lucky. A few wins. You think you've cracked the code. That's stage 1, unconscious incompetence, pretending to be genius. Then the market humbles you. You lose what you made and more. That's stage 2, Conscious incompetence, the worst psychological pain in trading, because now you know you're bad. Most people quit here, but the pros, they stay. They sit inside that pain until it becomes information. Here's what researchers David Dunning and Justin Kruger found. When you first start learning any complex skill, your confidence rises faster than your competence. Then, as reality sets in, your confidence plummets, even below your actual ability. That's the valley of despair. Every trader who lasts walks through that valley. Look at Paul Tudor Jones. Before he made billions, he blew his first account. He said later, "That loss was my tuition, the best education I ever got." What separates amateurs from pros isn't how quickly they win, it's how long they can keep learning after looking stupid. This phase hurts because you're collecting data about your blind spots. Each loss is a highlighter on your weakness. Most can't handle the humiliation. The top 1% use it as compass. You're not failing, you're mapping your incompetence. Chapter 3. The time investment fallacy. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people miscalculate the cost of mastery. They think in months. The market thinks in decades. The average professional trader becomes consistently profitable after 3 to 5 years of focused practice. That's statistical reality from prop firms and hedge fund training data. 3 years, minimum. That's not punishment. That's the time it takes for pattern recognition to become subconscious. When you stare at charts long enough, your brain begins compressing thousands of data points into intuition. It's not magic. It's the visual cortex, recognizing recurring shapes, volume signatures, behavioral loops. Chess masters see patterns. Pilots see airflows. Traders see order flow. But here's where it gets twisted. Because the internet sells the illusion of speed, everyone expects compounding by Christmas. You see the highlight reels, screenshots, profits, courses. You think they did it in 6 months. They didn't. You just saw their year 6 disguised as year 1. Be honest. How many years have you been trading seriously? Journaling, testing, managing risk, not just watching YouTube, actual work. Count from there. Because your real start date is the moment you stopped gambling and started documenting. If you've been truly serious for less than 3 years and still haven't made money, congratulations, you're right on schedule. Chapter 4. The pain repetition loop. Here's something counterintuitive. Every loss you take, if processed correctly, is profit in disguise. There's a feedback loop in skill development. It's called error-based learning. Your brain encodes lessons faster when they're paired with emotional pain. The stronger the pain, the deeper the learning, if you review it instead of react to it. Most traders just react. They feel the sting of loss and rush to escape it by revenge trading, changing strategy, or quitting. That short circuits the loop. The pain never becomes data. The top 1% do the opposite. They turn pain into precision. After every losing day, they dissect it. What was the trigger? Emotion or edge? Did I follow the plan? Did I size correctly? This transforms pain into pattern awareness. Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford calls this neurochemical tagging. When a strong negative emotion hits, the brain flags the experience for long-term memory storage. Review it within 24 hours and it becomes permanent learning. Ignore it and it fades as trauma. So every loss is a fork in the road. Learn or repeat. Paul Rotter, known as the Flipper, one of the most profitable day traders ever, said, "The faster you document your pain, the faster you stop repeating it." That's why unprofitable years are valuable. They're pure training data. The only traders who truly fail are the ones who waste their pain. Chapter 5. The identity shift from trader to operator. Here's where everything changes. In your first few years, you trade, you react, you chase, you improvise. But then something happens. You get tired, not of the market, but of yourself. The emotional swings, the hope, the despair, you start craving stability more than excitement. That's the moment the real trader is born. Professionals don't trade for dopamine. They trade for data. They think like operators running a business, not gamblers chasing a hit. Ray Dalio calls it the machine. His rule, I am just a worker in my system. That's what separates 3 years of chaos from 10 years of compounding. When you stop identifying as a person trading the market and start identifying as an operator executing a tested process, everything calms down. Suddenly, one loss is just a cost. One win is just revenue. There's no more emotional high or crash. That's the quiet that comes after the storm. But you can't skip there. You have to suffer through the years of chaos to earn that detachment. So if you're in year 1, 2, or 3, and you're exhausted, broke, and questioning yourself, good. You're dissolving the old identity. Every professional went through it. The only difference is that they didn't quit before the new identity formed. Climax. Here's the brutal truth. The first 3 years of trading are designed to break you, not financially, psychologically. They strip away your illusions, your fantasies, your entitlement. They teach you humility, discipline, patience. The market is a mirror. It reflects your weaknesses with brutal honesty until you fix them or quit. And here's what you don't see yet. Those years of no progress are actually compounding beneath the surface. Every sleepless night, every blown account, every painful review, they're investments in a skill that, once matured, pays you for life. Most people never make it because they can't stand being unpaid for so long. They forget that apprenticeship is always unpaid. Doctors study for 10 years before earning. Pilots train for thousands of hours before flying passengers. Why should trading a profession that moves billions be easier? The market doesn't reward effort. It rewards endurance. And endurance is built in silence, not success. There's a phrase I live by. Your unprofitable years are the tuition for your freedom. Once you've paid them, nobody can take that freedom away. So when you feel stuck, when your account is flat, when it feels like nothing's working, remind yourself, you're still in training. The world laughs at the trader who hasn't made money in 3 years. But that same trader in year 4 becomes unstoppable because they've built something the fast winners never had: depth. The kind of depth that can only come from surviving failure. So stop asking, when will I make money? Start asking, how can I stay alive until the curve explodes? Because the explosion is coming. It always does for the ones who stay. Here's what I want you to remember. Making no money for 3 years isn't failure. It's the normal path of mastery. If you're still here after that time, still testing, journaling, improving, you've already joined the 1%. Everyone else gave up. You didn't. That's your edge. Your job now is simple: survive, keep your capital, keep your process, keep your curiosity, because every hour you stay in the game compounds invisibly until one day it all clicks and people will call you lucky. When that day comes, you'll smile quietly because you'll know the truth. Luck had nothing to do with it. It was built one loss, one review, one sleepless night at a time. So here's your reflection question for the comments. How long have you been trading, and what's the hardest part of staying patient? Write it below. If this hit you, like really hit you, hit the like button. It tells me you're part of that 1% who actually gets it. Subscribe for the next episode where I'll break down the hidden skill that separates consistency from burnout. Until then, keep your losses small, your journal open, and your patience infinite. Because the trader who survives the silence owns the future.